What is going on,
Yeah.
everybody? Welcome into Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm Howard Bender, the guy bopping over here to my left, my right. I don't even know which way direction we're going in right now. Andrew Cooper, what is going on, Coop? How's it going, man? It's championship week. It's Thursday night football tonight. Everybody's freaking out.
Yes,
How you doing?
conditions are exactly as we expected. You know what I mean? It never works out the way that we think, where it's just you know what? I'll draft all these guys because they have great matchups. I'll draft Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and it'll be a shootout, right? And, of course, the guys we've been relying on have bad matchups, like Mr. Amari Cooper tonight. There's injuries that are going to determine who we're starting this week, like anybody on the Packers, right? Like everybody on the Packers. So it's just one of those weeks, buddy. But we're here to help guide people through it, as we always will be, right?
100%. That's what we do here. So if you got questions, put them into the chat. We appreciate you watching here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. We implore you to please like and subscribe. Don't worry, this show's going down to like weekly once the regular season comes to a close, but we know that it's crunch time here. It is championship week for fantasy football, NFL week 17, and that's why we're going to continue to carry you through. You're right, Coop. Like the news that's popping right now, which is so funny, like the players who I'm being asked about the most, obviously with tonight, not only is Amari Cooper dealing with a heel issue, a lot of people are asking whether or not to start Jerome Ford, wondering about this matchup for Breece Hall, because everybody, and it's so far, or whether or not to use Joe Flacco, because in all honesty, I feel like everybody who's in championship week right now is sweating Nick Mullins versus Joe Flacco, and we don't know. Like, I don't even know if Mullins has been named the starting QB yet. Nobody knows that.
It's a mess, dude. We don't know if Jordan Addison's going to play, dude. We don't know if Amari Cooper's going to play. Like, it is just a
they said there's hope that he's going to play, but you have to watch that. What about this one here, Coop? Do I use Jerome Ford tonight, or do I just wait on Zamir White? Oh, you mean because you don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to play? Like, that's another big one that I keep getting over and over and over again.
Yeah, and the scariest part of a lot of these ones is that the upside is huge if the person's out, but the floor is, it's terrible. Like Zamir White, if Jacobs out,
zero.
Awesome. Floor is zero. Dude, there's another one is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right? If Pacheco's out, because McKinnon's already out, boom, like way up. If Pacheco plays, I'm not playing that guy at all, dude. So it is crazy. Hey, at least we got one. At least we got one that's already locked in. Ramondre Stevenson was put on IR. So if Zeke Elliott helped you get you there, Zeke Elliott's on the table, especially in your PPR leagues. He's had a pretty good floor with targets. So we got one, but there's still a lot out there we're dealing with. Of course, Thursday night football, we have to do our best. So we'll get to all your questions in the chat. We always do. So put them all in there. But before we get to that, Howard, what's going on around the league? Anything else with the Thursday night football? Anything else in poppin' news we got to hit?
As far as Thursday night football, I think we're still waiting. It's clear skies. It's going to be a little cold in Cleveland, but there's no precipitation in there, so we're not worried about the weather at all. Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network is saying that Amari Cooper is hopeful that he can play. This dude's receiving yards prop is like sitting around 57.5 right now, which is not good. Like, just like that alone tells you that we're kind of, iffy. But for the rest of it, it's a matter of who you have and who you're going to start. Like Breece Hall against Cleveland. How do you sit Breece Hall? Like, what do you have that's like sitting there waiting for you? Right. To put Breece Hall on the bench. Jerome Ford, I can definitely see, him and Kareem Hunt, it becomes a little iffy because they're going to share in the role. And, listen, Jets run defense is not good. So, do you use them in a plus matchup in a shared backfield, or what are you sitting there waiting on? Like, right. David Montgomery, I'm using him over either of these guys. If I'm sitting there, wondering about Zamir White or Josh Jacobs, you just can't afford to win.
And there's some guys that the format doesn't matter, right? Like Christian McCaffrey. I don't care if it's standard or half PPR or PPR. I don't care what your rules are. Like whatever rules you have, Christian McCaffrey's the best running back. You know what I mean? But there are some leagues where this week, especially, some guys are much better in other formats. Derrick Henry's been the classic example where he's always better in standard than he is in half. Go on.
I have to interrupt you to correct something that I just said earlier. Jaron Allen making the start, according to Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. So here you go. There is no Nick Mullins on the table. Jaron Hall or Joe Flacco against the Jets. I mean, could you have two more vomitous matchups here, like to have to choose from? Like this is, you know what? Is Aiden O'Connell available?
Jaron Hall to Josh Oliver is the play this week. What defense is going against the Vikings?
The
Packers defense,
which is amazing because I have them in the FFPC Fantasy Pros Championship, and I'm in the finals, right? I'm in the playoffs here for them, so I have the Packers defense.
Okay, so here's a question for you then, Howard, real quick before we get to the chat. I had planned on starting the Jaguars against Carolina.
Okay.
But I also have the Packers against Minnesota. Do I make the swap now, or do I stick with the plan?
I think you stick with the plan here. Carolina is just not a good team, right? I mean, Bryce Young is definitely capable of a couple of turnovers. We've seen the sack fumbles out of him. We've seen, like, they're going to try and run the ball with Chuba a bunch and try and keep it, whatever, low risk, I think, for them. But overall, I think the Jaguars can be opportunistic enough against the Carolina Panthers. Kind of a thing. Yeah, this is where all the public money now immediately funnels over to the Packers. Yeah. And the people who just wait until the line settles are going to end up like taking the Vikings in the points. It's going to be very interesting to see, even though this is a home game for the Vikings.
It's already coming down. So we'll have to see where that ends up. It opened at 2.5, already down to 1.5 within literally since I just refreshed it a moment ago. So
it's at 1. Yeah, it's at 1 on BetMGM right now.
There it goes, dude. There it goes.
Boom. I didn't mean to break your thought there on the running back situation.
But I can pick it up where I'm putting. I can pick up where I left off, which is that this week, especially, it's important to know your format because guys like Breece Hall and James Cook that have difficult matchups on the ground, but are going up against teams where you can catch the ball, including Antonio Gibson as well. I'm not moving those guys down in PPR, but if you play standard, it's very difficult to run those guys up against those walls because Breece Hall, in a lot of these games, he's getting, 5-6 targets, but he's finishing the game with 40 total yards, 50 total yards because he's not running it well. So I don't know. Breece Hall is one of those ones where format dependent, PPR, I have no problem. Standard, you got to look around, see what else you might have.
Yeah, definitely. If you're you're so funny, man. You're like, check your scoring. Look at your score. Like, if you don't know your scoring right now, it's championship week for crying out loud.
Check it, dude. That? I know. I actually.
It's true though. Like, it's so true. It's frustratingly true. Frustratingly true. I still have people.
This is not Nam. There are rules.
Still have people messaging me that they're like, I don't really understand why I didn't make the playoffs. I'm like, because your commissioner put this clause in the rules. That's why. You're out. Bye.
Dude, that's my favorite one is the people on Reddit that are just like, I don't get it. This Trey McBride guy sucks. I'm like, well, is your league standard? Like, tell me your format. Or they're like George Kittle is a super mega star. Like, yes, in standard, of course he is. You know what I mean? But he caught 2 passes last week, or the week before last. Like, right. You got to know your format, man. Everybody leans into their own. So, but anyway, enough on that rant. Let's get into it.
All right, what else is going on around the news? Diana Rossini from The Athletic has her Captain Obvious cape on. She says that Russell Wilson is expecting to get cut by the team in March. Yeah, we covered that ground yesterday. Trevor Lawrence, the Superman here, practice in a limited capacity on Thursday, dealing with the shoulder issue.
I didn't hear no bell. Right? He's just dragged, like arm hanging down, blood. He's like the knight in Monty Python, right? Like
just a flesh
no
wound.
Arms, tis only a flesh wound. Just kicking people, no arms. Yeah.
But I mean, all right. I mean, I literally have, and I guarantee you the email is sitting right there. And because I just answered this question about 15 minutes. Yes. And there it is. Shout out to my boy Donnie Darling. If you're watching this show right now, the email is already there. Would you still go Addison over Ridley now that Hall is the quarterback? So here we go. You've got Rocky Balboa. I mean, Trevor Lawrence possibly quarterbacking the Jags right now for Ridley, or a banged up Jordan Addison with Jaron Hall as his QB.
What a mess, dude.
Where do you even go with that?
I don't know. The answer is probably lying somewhere on the waiver wire. Some DeMarcus Robinson or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's got to be Ridley, dude. It's got to be because you can't start Addison with Jaron Hall. You just can't do it.
Yeah, I can't get behind that. Not at all. In other news, Devon Achane back at practice. You know, it was kind of funny. You and I were sitting there. Yeah, I think it was yesterday when we started talking about it, and you brought up the fact that it's the same offense in Miami as it was in San Francisco. And so Baltimore had tremendous success against that offense. And then I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of like flipping through channels, and I caught a little segment of this in-season Hard Knocks, listening to Mike McDaniel like address the team. And I'm like, do you not think Mike McDaniel watched that game like intuitively and was like, okay, this is how they handled this, and this is how I'm going to change that? Mike McDaniel is a smart MFer.
I love him, dude.
I do too. I do too.
Just real quick, did you see the clip of him with Dan Marino last week?
No, I didn't.
So he was mic'd up, or some mic picked Mike McDaniel up, and Dan Marino's on the sideline wearing his Hall of Fame jacket, and the cameras are on Marino, and he's like waving, you know what I mean? And behind him, McDaniel is like yelling at him, like trying to mess with him, going, "Hey, Dan, we're coming for all your effing records, bud. We're coming." Like, wow, he's like, Marino's trying not to smile while he's like doing this, and he's like, "We're coming for those records, Danny." Like, just.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. He seems like a great guy. He's obviously he's a very intelligent person as well. You could see that the way he screws with the media at times. Like that's so I love that about McDaniel. And so now I'm like, ooh, Devon Achane back at practice. What does Mike McDaniel have cooked up for the Baltimore Ravens? Like all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm taking Miami in the points here.
Ooh, okay. See, I was on the other side. I had the simpleton approach where I was like, well, it worked against this team, so it's got to work against this team. But now, I mean, he's going to look at it, and maybe we do see less fullback. Maybe we do see more like 2 running back sets, or even, trying to mix in more wide receivers and stuff. I just worry that if Waddle's going to miss, then you're kind of limited on weapons. But McDaniel's a smart cookie, so that should be a fun one.
Cedric the Entertainer Wilson.
It's happening. This is why they paid him all that money. Where
it all comes full circle for the Miami Dolphins. In sad news, Chris Rodriguez lands on injured reserve with the ankle issue. That was kind of a huge bummer. I mean, I don't really listen. You weren't starting him or Brian Robinson, even if he returns, against the 49ers this week. Because again, I fear for everybody's safety on the Washington Commanders after the 49ers defense got embarrassed last week by the Ravens.
It's going to be a paddling. Maybe they are protecting Sam Howell from what's coming, but I will say this, Antonio Gibson, right? He's going to have the full job for DFS purposes. He's going to have the full job on DraftKings, which is full PPR. The 49ers have let up the 5th most receptions per game to running back. So Antonio Gibson with no anyone else potentially could be interesting. Could be a little something, Who is the next man up? Do they still have Jarrett Patterson, or like where's that?
I think they released Patterson. So, I don't think they have anybody per se.
Yeah, so we're talking practice squad coming up.
Derek Gore. They've got Derek Gore sitting there now. They brought him up now that Rodriguez is on the IR. And Derek Gore is definitely, he's more of a between the tackles kind of guy than Gibson is. So
Yeah.
once again, Gibson's role will stay exactly the same and his value stays exactly where it is. And then Derek Gore suddenly becomes hey, do I use this guy for short yardage situations on FanDuel, single entry GPP?
FanDuel, Yahoo, half PPR. No, the answer is no still, but as you're shooting off the answer is obviously still no, but
oh shoot. I just shot myself.
Okay. What else we got?
Tyreek Hill back at practice. That's always good news there. We love seeing that. Jalen Waddle did not practice. We don't like seeing that. And then the only thing that we're hearing recently about Jamar Chase is week 18 looks like a possibility. So obviously rule him out immediately for this game against the Chiefs, which puts L'Jarius Sneed on T. Higgins. Wah, wah.
Yeah, L'Jarius Sneed he took Devontae Adams out behind the woodshed last week, huh? Less than a point in most formats. I will add on Jalen Waddle that Pelissero, this recently came out within the last hour. He's throwing a full-on unlikely on Jalen Waddle now. So if Jalen Waddle if you were planning on Jalen Waddle, I'd start making other plans right now.
I'm going to go and update the DFS watch list and put Cedric the Entertainer into that watch list. Keep an eye out.
I had a question earlier today that was Garrett Wilson or wait on Jalen Waddle. And now that's if they're willing to come out and say that he's unlikely to play, then I'll start Garrett Wilson tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. All right, we'll keep you guys monitoring with the injuries, the updates, practice reports as we come through. Don't forget tonight, right before game time, 7 p.m. Eastern, Andrew Cooper and John and Pemba going to be doing a 1-hour Q&A live stream. So you'll have all of that updated news, all the updated injury reports. Oh, that's a sharp looking lid.
I love it.
Mine, look how dirty mine is. I got to get a new one.
I got the old one here.
Right now.
I held these up the other day, and Pemba was like, if you're not wearing either one of those hats, what hat are you wearing? To which I said, obviously I'm wearing my Corey Billy's airboat ride hat.
I'll still give you a motorcycle from yesterday, but
dude, this guy Corey Billy, man, absolute legend. If you find yourself in Southern Florida in the down in the Everglades, you got to go see Corey Billy. He just picks these gators right up, and his arms are covered in gator bites, dude. Just shredded, and he's like, "Ain't nobody in the country that does this little move I do here." And he like rubs its belly and it like waves. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, you should probably stop picking those up.
That's why Mama named you Joe Dirt, not Nuttamaker. Right?
Corey Billy, that's my dude right there. So shout out Corey Billy, everyone.
Shout out to Southern Florida's finest.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that guy.
Right, before we get to the chat, we just want to shout out our favorite sponsors here over at Underdog Fantasy. You best be playing on Underdog Fantasy. If you're not, well, do yourself a favor. Zap this QR code right here. All right. Or just go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use the promo code ALARM for an instant deposit match up to $100. All right. Now, they don't have a featured pick'em yet. I mean, keep an eye at it because you can go across all sports. So they might, I don't know who's on the NBA slate tonight, but it could be somebody with like a Trey Young, you know, more or less than half a point. So, or higher or lower. So I'll tell you what. So what we're going to do here is you can go find the featured guy on your own. Coop and I, we gave you picks the last 2 days. Let's do another round of pick'em picks for tonight. Coop, where do you want to start?
Well, let's start by saying that you stole my tackle monster pick. You picked CJ Mosley
2 days ago.
2 days ago, and I was like, you know what? I'll find another one. So I'm going through, and I'm like, that is the best one. It still is the best one. So the tackle monster for tonight will be CJ Mosley. And if you're going heavy, you want to go with that one. I'm going to give you another one that I'm mixing in because it's a high payout one. It's one of the spicy ones. So if you look for the ones that have like little spicy things next to them, the chili
peppers.
Yeah, you can load up on peppers all the way up to 100x. They cap you at 100x. They're not going to let you go too crazy, but you get up there. Sauce Gardner tonight, 2.25 to have a pick. Now, he has not had an interception all year, and he's been talking about it at least lately. The coaches have been talking about it lately. They're basically saying that, you know what? Some of the teams have been trying to stay away from him, but it's going to come. When his first one comes, he's going to have a bunch. He's got like 10 pass defenses. A couple of those he could have had his hands on. He dropped one in September. I think against Joe Flacco, the Huck It Chuck It King, back against the ropes, nothing to lose. I think this is where Sauce gets his first one. So I'm mixing a little sauce into the dish tonight with the chili peppers at 2.25. Sauce Gardner higher on the interceptions.
Well, that's kind of funny that you put that out there here because, it's like if he's talking about it and the coaches are talking about it, well, then he's going to stupidly try and jump a route that he shouldn't try to jump. And that means that Amari Cooper is going to get behind him for a 58-yard touchdown and just immediately one catch, 58 yards and a touchdown for Amari Cooper. So he goes over on the prop, on his receiving yards prop. So that
could happen.
I don't like this pick. I don't like this pick because you're putting the whammy on the rest.
He's gonna get it though. He's gonna get it.
Probably will. He probably will. Coop.
You stole my tackle monster, so this is what happens, dude.
Joe Flacco, 36.5 pass attempts. I just don't feel like it's that kind of a game. I really don't. You attack the Jets on the ground and you've got Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford. You don't need to be throwing the ball 40 times in this game. You just don't need to. You want to throw it, go ahead and throw it. But 36.5 pass attempts here, I'm going to say lower for Joe Flacco.
The implied point total for the Jets, basically, so you take the spread and the over on, all those numbers there. The implied point total for them is the lowest of any team this week. It's not even close. It's like 16 points, and no other team is less than 18. They're expecting the Jets to just go to bed tonight. 16
points? The Jets' implied total is 16?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. See, I'm more than happy to. That's why I'm taking the over in this game also.
Oh, yeah? You think so? You think it goes over 34?
It's 34, right? This game to me, this is 23-17 right now. It's 23. You know what? I'll throw it out here for you right now, Coop. It's 23-10 for a good chunk of the second half. All right. And Cleveland's kind of coasting a little bit. And then what happens at the end? You get a garbage time Jets touchdown. 23-17 is the final score. Jets cover that 7.5 point spread, and it goes over.
That's basically that was the game script to that Rams game. Like, was it last week where it was out? If you looked at the box score, it looked like it was close, but it wasn't at all. That was last Thursday. That was
last week. Oh yeah, where Derek Carr threw like 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Right, and you looked at it and you're like 30-22, not bad. But if you actually watched the game, it was very bad. Like, it wasn't even close. So yeah, all right, I'm with you on that. Let's do it.
So there you go. Yeah, Cleveland's going to just beat up the Jets for 3.5 quarters. They're going to give up a late touchdown, backdoor cover for the Jets. So anyway, there you go. Shout out again to our friends over at Underdog. Sorry about the added conversation in there. Reminding you to sign up over at fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use that promo code ALARM for a $100 match deposit.
And honestly, do the 100 because even if you don't do it on pick'ems, we're going to start doing best ball drafts as soon as they open up, which is going to be like in February. And we do them with the Fantasy Alarm members. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to go in and check and see who's winning. I'm winning a few of them, but I saw Hamburger at the top of a few of them, dude.
I'm winning a good one over at rtsports.com also.
Yeah. So get in there with good job, Howard. Yeah, dude, clip that. Hey,
Brian Burns has some editing to do today.
Yeah,
how dare you? Somebody's earning his money. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use the promo code.
There you go, dude. Underdog is where we play best ball always. Yeah.
Fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use the promo. Stop it.
Perfect. All right.
Just clip it from another show.
Let's see what the chat has going on today, Howard. Let's see what the chat's got going.
I'm surrounded by assholes.
Birds, knock it off.
All right, let's get in the chat. You want to hit the questions? You want me to do them, Howard?
I don't care. Dealer's choice, Coop. I'll read or answer. You tell me.
You read them. I'll answer them. I'll answer them today.
All right, right from the start here from Wilson. Is HN an automatic sit if you have Jerome Ford as an alternate running back?
Meaning you would have to start Jerome Ford tonight. I think that honestly, I think I would start Jerome Ford because HN looks like he's going to play, but Mostert's going to play, and I don't know. I feel pretty good about Ford tonight. He's getting the bulk of the pass work and at least splitting the run work. So I don't mind Ford tonight. Howard, what do you think?
I don't mind him either.
Yeah.
Joe Von Sake says, PPR, do I trust Hall and Flacco tonight? Can pivot to Swift at running back and have my pick of Easton Stick, Gardner Minshew, Jared Stidham, Tyrod Taylor, or Aiden O'Connell. So he can pick any crappy quarterback he wants or Joe Flacco. And then it's Hall versus Swift.
I'm going to start Flacco unless you would go with Minshew because I'm not going to start Taylor or O'Connell.
Minshew's the only one who interests me, but we don't know about Pittman, whether Pittman's going to be back or not.
Yeah, I think we should start Flacco, man. He's been good. I think he's going to be fine. And the thing with Hall is here's with Swift. I think Swift is going to have an awesome game, and I would actually start Swift here. Swift has only had bad games in the negative game script games where they were playing from behind and they used Kenneth Gainwell. In all the other games, he's the starting running back getting the bulk of the work. So look at it last week, starting running back, bulk of the work. And this Cardinals team has multiple times led up multiple touchdowns to the starting running back for good teams. So the only risk for Swift is the tush push, but I could see Swift scoring a couple this week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were giving him red zone touches, trying to get him into the end zone, even with the old tush push in play this past week.
If I were the Eagles, and of course I'm just some guy, but I would look at what the Bills did.
Don't sell yourself short, Judge. You're a tremendous slouch.
I'm just some
handsome, the greatest guy in the whole wide world.
Handsome, funny guy. But what I would do is I would do what the Bills did a couple of years ago down the stretch, where they had it locked up and the matchups were in their favor. And if you look at that, Devin Singletary over the last, remember that, Howard? Over the last 4 games, he scored like 6 touchdowns because you don't want your quarterback in the pile with people, biting fingers and like stomping on feet and doing all that crazy stuff. Like if you can, against the Giants last week, the Cardinals this week, the Giants next week, all you have to do is not screw up. And I would just do my best not to have Jalen Hurts in the pile if possible. So that's where I'm at. No reason not to do exactly what the Bills did in this same situation.
I agree with you completely. And you saw how chippy it started getting there with the Giants and Jason Kelsey this past week. So I'm with Coop on that. Swift over Hall, I'm fine with that. And Flacco over the mess. You could go Minshew, but I don't really I don't love that.
You see these teams now, they're trying everything they can to stop it, jumping over the line even before the snap. Like you saw it with the Ravens 49ers game. I think Fred Warner just like jumped on Lamar Jackson from it wasn't even close to on time. And I wouldn't want to suscept my quarterback to that. So that's just me.
All right. Michelle wants to know, pick 2, Flacco, Tyrod, Carr, or Hall.
So super flex. Yeah. I'm starting Derek Carr.
I'm definitely starting Derek Carr here.
Love Derek Carr. I'm starting him in a fantasy playoff matchup of my own.
Mm-hmm.
And in Superflex, I want to start a quarterback, and it might be Tyrod Taylor.
You would do Taylor over Flacco?
Nah, it's Flacco. It's Flacco.
I mean, listen, I'm fine with Tyrod Taylor. I mean, I you know what? He's a veteran QB. He's not a great QB, but he's a veteran QB. They're going to get beaten up by the Rams. Is he going to throw the ball enough? Is he going to make Darren Waller relevant? Is he going to make Jalen Hyatt a thing?
To be honest, this is the way I look at it. If Tommy DeVito were injured, then I would love Tyrod Taylor. But just the threat of benching, right? Tommy DeVito is not hurt, so they could just pull Tyrod Taylor, right? Like it could be a game where he throws 2 picks and gets yanked from the game. So that's
Flacco,
it's Flacco. Yeah, it's Flacco.
So Flacco. There you go, Michelle. Grumpy Sports Fan wants to know. Happy Thursday, Preston. Grumpy Sports Fan wants to know Kittle or McBride, full point PPR.
This is where it's so important to know your format because in full PPR for me, it's McBride. He's had the highest target share of any tight end since Ertz was out. If this was standard, though, it would be Kittle because he does more with less. 2 catches last week, but he had 56 yards, right? Like he runs a 4.52, he's 40, so like he can do a lot more with it. But it's McBride in full PPR.
Brandon wants to know Godwin, Shaheed, Noah Brown, or Romeo Dubs.
I love Godwin right now. He's healthy and he looks good. He was hurt.
Spot here against the Saints too.
Right, looking back, like he had a neck, knee, and elbow injury, and Cade Otton was getting like 6-9 targets or whatever. Now he's healthy. He's getting all those looks. I feel good about it.
All right. Here's a question that actually, you know what? Now is the time where this can be relevant, right? Worrying about this in week 2, week 3, not so much. Today, Joe's got Baker at QB, but his opponent has Mike Evans and Rashad White. He doesn't typically let his opponent's roster determine his, but with him having Olave and Higgins, would you stack Carr or Browning over Baker? It's definitely not Browning for me, but Carr versus Baker in order to get your, or do you negate any kind of points there with, I guess Evans and White are more negating Baker's points.
Right. Well, this isn't to me is an easy one because I've already had an in-depth discussion on Quick Out Fantasy Football with our QB guru John Impemba, and he is one of the world's greatest Baker detractors, has been for many years, and he still says that he likes Baker Mayfield this week in this matchup. He likes him more than Derek Carr. I specifically asked him Baker or Derek Carr, and he is 100% on Baker, and you can negate those points. The only concern, of course, is that if Rashad White scores a rushing touchdown, then you don't get those points. But I like the idea of taking away 2 of the biggest weapons for your opponent and kind of negating it with your quarterback. So, and plus we have Baker ranked ahead anyway, so it's Baker.
All right, there we go. Yes, everybody, we now see that Mullins is out. We didn't see that report immediately when we started.
Sorry. I came off the show before this one, so let's give a little leeway, okay? 3 shows today, Howard.
Come on now.
Let's,
Is that it? Just 3?
I usually on Thursday you do like 4 hours, right?
You're so cute. I do like 6.5 hours.
You like 6? Oh yeah, that's right. Because you're the betting show.
Anyway, Toronto Dave says he thinks he's going to start Amari Cooper over DeAndre Hopkins. We're hearing Will Levis put in a limited practice the other day.
DeAndre Hopkins is on pace for 1,000 yards. Quietly, has over 900 already with 2 games left. So, I think I'm going to go Hopkins, man. Amari Cooper's got a heel issue. He's already making excuses, right, with the heel. And then now he's going to go up against Sauce and DJ Reed. And all the books, as Howard already pointed out, are saying 58 yards, right? So in your, the 250 yards, just forget about it, right? That was last week. This is this week.
Wait. Are you saying that Amari Cooper's not going to have 265 receiving yards tonight? But he just had 265. So he can.
So it's possible, right? I mean, that is the rationale. I wonder if he were to have 260 yards in this, if you were to bet the highest alt line, you would, but it's not happening.
All right. It's not happening. I'd almost give my left nut to see it happen now because we just said it's not happening.
I've handled dozens of balls.
Maybe give fantasy receipts a reason to come at us, right?
Yeah.
They got nothing right now, but that's
I get a bunch of followers every time they retweet my stuff. I kind of like that account. They're very mean.
Me too. I've always been a fan.
Very mean, but still like them.
Britt saying hi. Hello, Britt. Grumpy Sports Fan says Zeke, McCaffrey, David Montgomery, Chuba Hubbard, Jalen Warren. I need 3. Well, McCaffrey's a no-brainer. So that's an automatic. Easily an automatic.
Yeah. And honestly, Zeke is an automatic.
Monty here, where I'm going to.
Yeah, Zeke and Monty. Ramondre Stevenson done, so Zeke, it's wheels up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Flacco or Carr?
I like Carr.
I like Carr too.
Yep. We like Carr a lot in this matchup. I think that matchup, if that could be a shootout, that'd be real nice. No Taysom Hill.
Brenda says, should I play Wilson tonight? My other wide receivers are Terry, Thielen, or Demarcus Robinson.
I think I would play Garrett Wilson.
Yeah,
Garrett Wilson's been good. He's been, you know what?
He's seeing mad targets right now. Doesn't matter who's the QB.
If you can get him in Dynasty, I know whoever has him probably isn't going to give him up, but if you can get him in Dynasty right now, oh, man, those are the exact guys that we're going to look back and be like, wow, remember when he was playing with these quarterbacks, and now he's playing with this quarterback? Like, look at Nico Collins, who is not even close to the quality of player that Garrett Wilson is. And Nico Collins was doing nothing. And then CJ Stroud showed up, and now he's a stud, right? Like, Garrett Wilson at some point is going to have a quarterback. Look at A.J. Brown. Yeah. With Tannehill, we looked at it and we're like, oh, yeah, 1,000 yards. Nice. And then with Jalen Warren, we were like, wait a second. This guy's one of the best players in the league. That's what it's going to be like with Garrett Wilson. Could be like that with Drake London and Kyle Pitts too. So we'll have to see.
Well, that's for the future, Coop. We're talking about the present right now.
Sorry, everyone.
The near distant future.
I'm telling you guys, this is what I'm going to do. You say this show, we're just going to do one show a week. I'm just going to keep the same time slot and just do solo shows, 10 hours of solo Dynasty talk. Just spitting all over the mouth.
Diarrhea of the mouth, like constantly.
So no one listening, not even on the YouTube, just at my house, just like.
Well, I want to tell you about this 7th round draft pick who's
this tight end, dude. I already called for the Kenny Yeboah touchdown tonight, Howard.
Ralph A says, just lost Mullins as QB. Trevor Lawrence doesn't look like he's going to play. Do I play Minshew or pick up Jaron Hall, Jared Stidham, or Aiden O'Connell? I'd add Minshew.
It's Minshew. Yeah, for sure. I like Minshew with or without Pittman, honestly, because you know what? Like, I like Downs. I like Alec Pierce. They'll be all right.
Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Rashee Rice, Devonta Smith, Adam Thielen need 3.
No Thielen for sure.
Yeah, it's the first 3 for me. It's Metcalf, Adams, and Rice.
Yeah.
Yeah. How consistent Rice has been. It's been insane.
He's awesome, dude.
Like, last 9 games, he's like averaging like 6 catches for 70 yards. Like, obviously you want something a little, you want added touchdowns in there, of course, but to average 13 fantasy points in a PPR format, like, it's like a lock wide receiver 3 that you picked up in what round? Oh yeah, like the 15th.
Boom. Easy.
You're
easy, and you're welcome.
Breece Hall or Gus Edwards?
Yeah, it's going to be Breece Hall for me.
Breece Hall for me too.
They refuse to let Gus Edwards be the full-time back.
Need 1 out of this group in full PPR. Hello, Ann. Ty Chandler, Ezekiel Elliott, Javonte Williams.
It's Zeke, right?
It probably is Zeke against Buffalo, but I do love Javonte against the Chargers.
Yeah.
With
Stidham.
Jared Stidham, like, checking it down to him a ton. I think I'll tell you what, I would say stick with Zeke, safe floor, gonna get all the carries.
Yeah. Just gonna get a bunch of targets.
Yeah.
It's Zeke.
But I do like Javonte. I do.
Easton Stick against Jarrett Stidham, the showdown of the year.
Right? Be tremendous if it was like the AFC West title on the line too. And needs 2 in a full PPR. Tight end, no tight end premium here.
No premiums, yeah.
No tight end premium. Brandon Cooks, Curtis Samuel, Romeo Doubs, Dallas Goedert.
I'm feeling Brandon Cooks. I think that game's it might not hit the over, but I think that's going to be a game where 50 points are scored, right? The over set at like 52.5, 53. I think that's going to be a shootout, man. I'm going Cooks.
So then it's Samuel in a vulnerable slot position against San Francisco, or Dallas Goedert against Arizona for me. I'm kind of leaning Samuel. I got to be honest with you. I think he gets more work. I think they throw more to him.
Right.
Although, I don't know, what was his target situation with Jacoby Brissett? Do we know?
Goddard is boring. Oh, yeah, I do know. It was
Goddard is boring.
Very limited this year, at least. Only five targets for McLaurin, 4 for Curtis Samuel, 4 for Jahan Dotson, 3 for Logan Thomas, 3 for John Bates, 2 for Antonio Gibson. That's off the top of my head, Howard.
Oh, that's very talented. So you're saying what, Cooks and Goddard then?
It actually, as impressive as remembering that is, it actually means nothing. It means everybody, the ball was spread out to everybody. So I'm going to go with Cooks. I'm still going to go with Cooks and Curtis Samuel, but it doesn't help us that he spread the ball around.
Jags defense, Packers defense, or Raiders defense?
Jags,
the Raiders are not going to have 2 defensive touchdowns this week. I don't think. I don't think.
Yeah, we actually talked about this on the show already, and I am starting the Jags over the Packers in my own league.
Okay. Yeah, listen, I mean, Jags against the Panthers, we opened the show with that. So
yep. Mm-hmm.
Shane wants us to choose a tight end flex combo, half-point PPR, Trey McBride, Darren Waller, T. Higgins, Tyler Lockett, Jordan Addison, and Brian Robinson. Well, we have injury news that we're waiting on with Jordan Addison, but Jaron Hall kind of takes that out of the equation. Same with Brian Robinson. I don't even know if they're going to let him go with that hamstring issue.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not starting either of those two. And T. Higgins is about to face the clamps with L'Jarius Sneed, huh?
Yeah.
I think it's Trey McBride and Tyler Lockett.
Trey McBride and Tyler Lockett.
Darren Waller we like at tight end because we think he can have like 5 for 50, but is he really going to have like a classic Darren Waller game? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. So, yeah, I like McBride, and I like going with Lockett as well. I actually just benched Amari Cooper for Tyler Lockett in one of my championship games.
So we're riding with you, Shane.
We're right there. Right there. Kev Tompkins said he'd run through a damn wall for Mike McDaniel. So would I.
Me too.
So would I.
He's great.
Smokey the Cat. Smokey, I haven't seen you in so long. Where you been hiding, baby?
He mentioned it on one of our other shows that he was on vacation. Like he was like way out and about. So good to have you back, Smokey.
Yeah, Smokey, you gotta let us know when you're going away. We were worried, we were concerned, we were calling, we were trying to dig up IP addresses and stuff like that. So
I was putting up posters on all the telephone poles. Lost cat, Smokey the Cat. Have you seen him?
He's sitting in 4 championships right now. So for that, we congratulate you.
Doing fine.
This looks like a Joe Flacco or Derek Carr here for Chuck. We're both on Derek Carr. Alex Chavez needs 3 wide receivers from these 4. So who are you sitting, Andrew? Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, Nico Collins, or D. Evans?
D. Evans? Who the heck is that? Who in the heck?
I don't even know who that last one is.
Well, I would sit D. Evans.
So yeah, I'd sit D.
Dwight Evans. Please let us know who you meant there.
Yeah, that's
as of now, that looks like an easy.
As of now, that's the easy sit right there. Rams, Colts, or Jags defense, full PPR. I'm still in on the Jags out of this crew.
Yep, I like them all though. Honestly, like there's a lot of good. This is a week where there's a ton of good options at tight end and a ton of good options at defense. So, but I'm gonna go Jags.
I'm going with Jags against the more inexperienced QB. Like that's the thing. Like Rams are still facing Tyrod Taylor, and he's a veteran. He's not like it's not some green rookie, right off the boat who's going to be like staring like a deer in the headlights. And Aiden O'Connell, he's had enough experience right now that I'm okay with him being just keeping the ball protected against the Colts. So Jags defense.
Mm-hmm.
And needs 1 running back and 2 flex PPR tight end premium here.
Rams.
Pollard, Javonte, Amari Cooper, Jordan Addison, Dalton Kincaid. Can't really start Addison or Kincaid at this point. Probably not.
No, though the coach did say that that he was like Kincaid was the first read on a lot of plays, just didn't pan out. But he's also not playing as many snaps, with the shoulder and the thumb. So, and also against the Patriots, who Kyle Duggar, right? That's gonna be the matchup. So I would go Pollard and Javonte, and I'd probably just start Amari Cooper tonight. I think you got to do that.
Yeah, I like it. Jared Moore asking the question that we know in the deepest of leagues where depth isn't really a thing. Would you start Njoku tonight and get those points in the bank rather than risk questionable injury tags for Barkley, Pacheco, Pittman, and Hill?
Nah, I'm gonna roll a dice. There's enough names there. If we're talking about a flex, this sounds like a guillotine league, right? Where it's like you have all these crazy options. I would wait. You're gonna one of those guys is gonna be
One of
fine
those
option.
4 guys is going to start.
Tyreek Hill is gonna play. He practiced. Like so, at the very least, I'm throwing Tyreek Hill in there. Like you're probably just gonna start Tyreek Hill.
What if that's Taysom Hill?
If it's Taysom Hill, dude.
I'm just kidding.
I love that. I'm still getting Taysom Hill questions, and it's amazing to me. I'm like, he has 7 yards over the last 2 weeks combined.
Somebody's going to play, Jared. Somebody's going to play.
Somebody's going to play.
Oh, look at this. This is the most handsome duo of gentlemen I've seen on screen. Of course. Thank you, Mr. Football.
Great comment. I think I can pin that to the top. Yeah.
I think you should pin that to the top, actually.
It's pinned to the top now. Great comment, Mr. Football. I agree.
I wish you weren't a liar.
Sean123 says, how's it going? Championship week for me. Miami defense has been great lately, but do I trust them against Baltimore or look at the waiver wire? I mean, look at the waiver wire and see who's there. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's going to be a lot of better options. The Ravens are a very good football team.
They are a very good football team. All right, we got Michelle's QB question again here. Do I drop Jake Browning for any of these quarterbacks? Kyler Murray, Jarrett Stidham, Tyrod Taylor, Jaron Hall, Mason Rudolph, or Jacoby Brissett?
Juan Pena, shout out to our friends in the Massachusetts area, Framingham. Kyler Murray, brother.
Yeah, Kyler Murray.
I'm starting him in a league.
No doubt. Amari Cooper, Jordan Addison, Jacoby Myers, Tajay Spears, full point PPR. I kind of like Jacoby.
Right? Yeah, we like Jacoby. That's not bad.
Fatty McFat's in the house. What's up, buddy? Happy week 17 to you as well. Juan Pena likes shopping at the Rentham outlets.
Yeah, that's my dude. That's right. It's right around the corner here. My wife is like the mayor of that place.
I do not want my wife the mayor of any place near outlets.
Yeah.
Let's see. With Waddle out, does this make Achane a better start? I mean, they'll have to get more creative, sure, but I don't think one really has much to do for the other.
Yeah. With some of these guys, like Mostert, for instance, I would say that the rising tide lifts all ships with a guy like Mostert. Like you want the offense as good as possible if you're the touchdown battering ram. With Achane, like he creates for himself. You know, his health is the biggest question for Achane.
Yeah. Kev says, pray for Brees tonight in the Pomeranian final.
Ooh,
I wish you nothing but the best.
That's over on Underdog. That's why you got to get the dough in there now. Get that bonus in there so you can do best balls with us.
Do all
Pomeranian.
Balls.
Yeah, that's
doing it for baseball too, actually.
Yeah, got it.
Start that up. All right, and Dunn wants to know Garrett Wilson over under 51.5 receiving yards.
I like over on that. I like Garrett Wilson tonight.
I like Garrett Wilson too. I'll take the over. Sit Njoku, start Kittle.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I don't like the Jets as a matchup. We've talked about it on the show already. They backup tight ends have scored a lot of touchdowns against the Jets, skewing the numbers. The Farrell Brown and Luke Schoonmaker and Noah Gray. You got to kind of against the tight end one on teams, they do well.
Need 2 out of these 4. Calvin Ridley, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, Jaden Reed. Leaning to sit Wilson. Don't see much floor or ceiling tonight, really. Thoughts?
So Mason Rudolph seems to love George Pickens. He didn't throw it to Freiermuth one time. I mean, Deontay Johnson was kind of phased out. I think with Mason Rudolph at quarterback, I kind of like George Pickens, Howard.
All right. So would you go Pickens and Ridley then? Yeah, Pickens and Ridley. Mm-hmm. And Don wants to know Brees Hall over under 45.5 rushing yards.
I think under on that. I think he's going to make his money on receptions.
Yards.
Yeah, he had 12 receptions last week. And outside of the one game where he randomly had one catch, he's been catching like 5, 6, 7, 8 balls, you know?
Yeah, I have his receiving yards prop at over 31.5.
Nice. Yeah. We had it in on Underdog. I think Underdog was 29.5. So definitely stack that up. That's one of the ones I gave yesterday, unless they've juiced it up, those cowards.
I don't know. Nate Markham in the house. Oh, Nate Markham's going to join me today on the Fantasy Alarm show on Sirius XM. So you can definitely come check that out. He says, Pittman, no red jersey today.
I was laughing to myself because Nate tweeted at you and me, and he said fantasyalarm.com/underdog/RT Sports.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Thanks, Coop. Thanks for rehashing.
That is funny.
Once again, shout out to Brian Burns, who's going to have a hell of an editing job over there.
Chop this one up,
pull
dude.
all of that stuff out. So
perfect.
Jets D or Chargers D? Jets D for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Chargers D.
I hope Stidham just shreds them. I really do.
I started the Chargers D against the Raiders, and they got like -5.
-10.
Yeah.
Full PPR, Likely or Kincaid?
Likely. It's got to be Likely. I like Likely is, I have him, I think 5 or 6 is where I'm going to have him at the end of the day because Miami's a good matchup for tight ends.
Trevor Lawrence or Jake Browning if Lawrence is healthy?
I mean, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Pick one QB, please. Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, Joe Flacco.
It's Baker. And I love Carr this week, but Impemba has all the numbers. He's in on Mayfield. It's locked in.
Kraft or Musgrave or Gerald Everett?
I actually don't mind Everett for the first time, maybe ever. Donald Parham was a healthy scratch hour last game. With Brandon Staley gone, the new crew said, hey, you know what? We don't need you. So it was Stone Smart and Everett. So Everett, for the first time ever, is actually also in my DFS article. So Gerald Everett we like.
Full point PPR, Gabe Davis, DJ Chark, or Jamison Williams. Pick one.
Yeah, I know, gross. It's actually going to be Gabe Davis. At least he plays the whole game.
It's going to be Gabe Davis.
Yeah. So.
PPR, Hall, Zeke, or Monty?
I'm recusing myself from this question.
Well, let's rank the 3. How about that?
I might be overly biased towards Zeke. Zeke is who I would definitely go with.
I like Zeke, and then I like Hall, and then I like Monty.
Yep, that works for me, especially in full PPR.
Zeke, Hall, Monty. Pick 2, full PPR, Wilson, Ridley, or Aaron Jones. So I'm going to assume that that's Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley, and Aaron Jones. So I'm going to be in on Jones as a running back who catches passes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes down to Wilson or Ridley for you. Which one? Ridley? Wilson? Who do you like?
Yeah. I think I'd probably just start Garrett Wilson tonight without knowing, right?
Without knowing 100% what the deal is with Trevor Lawrence.
If we find out that Trevor Lawrence is definitely playing today before that kickoff, then start Ridley. But I go Wilson otherwise.
If Waddle plays, do you start him over Godwin? No.
Waddle's not going to play. And I think I'd start Godwin anyway.
Yeah, I would too. Terry or Demarcus Robinson, PPR?
What a world, Howard. What a world.
What kind of a world do we live in?
I know.
Have to make that decision.
I think I still have to start Terry. I think I still would start Terry McLaurin against the 49ers with Jacoby Brissett.
I will concur with my compadre there.
But it's close. It's way closer than it should be. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, everybody's like, oh, Jacoby Brissett, he's unlocking Terry McLaurin. But, DeMarcus Robinson, that's the thing. DeMarcus Robinson, he's still the third guy in that.
Third guy. There. Yes.
McLaurin is still the top guy.
Right. They're going to have plenty of opportunities. They're going to be getting the ball back quick against the 49ers, right?
Half point PPR. Flex position. No. Do you trust Deontay Johnson? All my wide receivers have questionable tags. Palmer, Allen, and Addison. Available dart throws are Slayton, Chark, Cedric Wilson, or Downs. I think you have to go with Deontay here until you get word on these other guys.
Yeah. And I might not even start Addison over Deontay Johnson. But I would definitely start Keenan Allen or Palmer if they play. Deontay Johnson didn't even play the full game last week. It was very strange.
It was Pittsburgh in a very, very strange spot there as well. But I mean, listen, again, you have to wait and see. I mean, if Keenan Allen's playing, is Josh Palmer playing, is Jordan Addison even playing? You just have to, wait and see. We can't answer these on a Thursday, and nor do you even want us to answer it on a Thursday. This is like a Saturday question.
Or Sunday morning when we have a show from 9 to 10 with Britt Flynn and John and Pemba, and then Howard and I from 10 to 11 on Sirius XM call in. And if you don't get through on the call in from 11 to noon, when the official 1 o'clock inactives come out at 11:30, John and Pemba and I will be answering every single question, and I will stay past noon. So if I have to stay until 12:58, we will answer all the questions because it's championship week, Howard.
Because it's championship week. What a sweetheart you are.
We got to win these leagues, man. This is our family. Hashtag family.
Vito says he's torn at his flex position, full point PPR. He's got Breece Hall in there right now, but he's got Amari Cooper, CEH, Zeke, and Zamir White. Who would you start?
So Zeke.
Yeah, we're targeting Zeke already. So yeah,
loving Zeke, dude. Yeah, Ramondre is done for the year.
Alex Chavez keeps saying Mike Evans. We get it. It was Mike Evans. You had Mike Evans listed twice. You had Mike Evans, and then you had D Evans in there.
I'm starting Mike Evans over D Evans for sure. Though.
Definitely starting Mike Evans over D Evans.
Let us know who the fourth guy is.
Houston D or Falcons D? Houston D for me.
Houston, yeah.
Is it crazy to start Ford over Pollard?
Honestly, not really. That's not crazy.
It's not crazy at all.
I think I still might start. I think I would still start Pollard though.
All right. Well, we got to rapid fire this. So make that decision. Where are you going? Pollard.
Pollard. I'm starting Tony Pollard.
There you go. Pick 2, PPR. Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott, James Conner.
JT and Zeke.
Any concern with Deebo Samuel's injury this week?
I'm always worried about Deebo Samuel.
All right. Oh, here we go. Alex finally got it going here. Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk, or Nico Collins? Who are you sitting out of that foursome?
There we go. I would sit Nico Collins.
I agree. Top options on the waiver wire this week for defense: Falcons, Colts, Rams, Bears, Raiders, Jets. Who would you pick? Why is it going to be the Bears?
It is the Bears, and that's because the Bears are a different defense ever since they got Montez Sweat and Eddie Jackson back. The Bears have been a great defense, right? So it's the Bears. And going up against the Falcons.
PPR, need a wide receiver and a flex. Cooper, Ayuk, Devonta Smith, Cortland Sutton, Breece Hall, David Montgomery.
You have to start Ayuk against Washington. You start all wide receivers against Washington has worked for us all year long. And I think it's probably got to be Devonta Smith, right? Assuming he's healthy, which I think he is, right? You go Smith against the
Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, because Sutton's banged up. Hall, bad matchup. Monty, half a job. Cooper, Mark Cooper's playing the
Jets.
Best three cornerbacks easily the best cornerbacks.
Full point PPR pick 2: Kamara, Breece Hall, Ezekiel Elliott, and Jahmyr Gibbs.
In this case, I would actually not start. This is the one I'm not going to go with Zeke. I would go with Kamara and Gibbs.
Me too. 100%. Minshew, Rudolph, or Easton Stick? Minshew. Derrick Henry or Alvin Kamara? Half point PPR.
I'm going Kamara. Hey, you'd think you'd start Henry against the Texans, but he did terrible against the Texans last time.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Fairbairn, McLaughlin, Cameron Dicker, or Mike Badgley?
Yeah, there's a real question. And I'm going to consult with our favorite Lindellians, Lindlions. She's the kicker master, and I know she loves Fairbairn this week, but let me just double check on that. She has Fairbairn the highest of that crew, and that's who I'm going with.
Jonathan Taylor or DeAndre Swift?
Taylor.
Chase not expected to play again. Full point PPR: Amari Cooper, Drake London, Chris Godwin, or Rashid Shaheed?
I like Godwin right now. He's been hot, and I think that's going to be a shootout, and we like the quarterbacks on both sides.
Start Garrett Wilson over Deebo because of Deebo's neck strain. Other option would be James Conner or Aaron Jones. So yeah, I would wait to find out about Deebo, and then you got Aaron Jones in like the night game.
Yeah, that's one where like I kind of root for Debo to not play so I get to start Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
But I would start Debo against Washington if he plays. I mean, it's Washington.
Agreed. Last one here, Alex Chavez again. Mixon, Achane, Jalen Warren, pick 2.
It's Mixon. Touchdown factory.
And Achane?
And Achane, yeah.
And Achane. Mixon and
There it
Achane.
is.
All right, that's going to do it for us here. Big thank you to everybody. I hope you guys are hitting that like button on the YouTube page there. Please do it for us. It helps us tremendously. Big thank you to Brian Burns, as always, for bringing the heat. For Andrew Cooper, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Alarm Fantasy Football. I don't even know what show we're on anymore.
We got it.
Coop, tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on this page. Me, 5 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. We'll catch you next time.
Turd nuggets.